What's up, guys? Welcome to Late Night Frights. I'm Chris Brock, the co-leader, and this week is our off week, so we're going to be doing horror battles. So last week was a theme week, which our theme was children's horror theme, which I thought was a really cool theme. Had a fun time doing that. I reviewed The Monster Squad, the Jay Sloan reviewed Beetlejuice, Little Rocker Cutie 2005 reviewed Gremlins, and our newest pre-member, Jeremy Burchett, reviewed Critters. I thought we had a solid week all the way around, so if you haven't, seen our videos from last week, I advise you to definitely go check them out because I thought we had a solid week, and I hope to continue that with this week. And I'm happy to announce that we have a new pre-member making their debut video on Late Night Frights on Friday, so definitely go check that out. That's going to be really cool to see. But yeah, without further ado, the two films I'm going to be battling this week. Well, before I get into that, normally I battle two films that have similarities, that are similar to each other, that are in the same subgenre. Say I take, like The Burning versus Sleepaway Camp, two slasher films from the 80s, and battle them. That's a no-brainer, but these two are polar opposites from each other. So, really, I just wanted to mix things up. And they're the newest Scream Factory, releases, so I decided why not. And the first one is a film from the year 1999, and that is Lake Placid. And the next one is a film from the year 2000, Ginger Snaps. So before I get on to the horror battle, I'm going to be reviewing each of the plots briefly. Okay, so pretty much a plot of Lake Placid. In Lincoln County, Maine, this game officer is preparing to dive down into the lake. He has his scuba diving gear on, and he dives down into the lake because he's trying to find these beavers, this beaver nest. I forgot, what reason he was doing it, like why he was doing it. It slips my mind. I don't think it wasn't like a big part of the plot, so he's trying to find these beavers for whatever reason, and he does. He finds this beaver nest, and this beaver just jets right past him, and out of nowhere he gets bitten in half by something. Obviously it is the crocodile, but the people in the film, they don't know it yet, obviously. Sheriff Hank pulls him up, and he's bitten in half, and I thought that was a really cool effect there. And pretty much from there, the game officer, Jack Wells, Kelly Scott, and Hector, and Sheriff Hank go out to try to investigate and see what this thing is. And they do. They find out what it is. It's a big adventure. It's a very fun film, and a very underrated film, in my opinion. I actually really enjoyed Lake Placid. I didn't think I'd like it as much as I did. I thought, they balanced the CGI and, the practical, animatronic crocodile. I thought they balanced that perfectly. Yeah, so that's the basic plot of Lake Placid. So pretty much a basic plot for Ginger Snaps. It is about Ginger and Bridget Fitzgerald. They're very close sisters. Bridget is 15 and Ginger is 16. And pretty much they're fascinated by death. They make this death project for school, showing pictures of them dying, basically, but obviously it's fake. They're just very fascinated by that, and they're picked on because of that, because they are different. They are kind of like the outcast teenagers of the late 90s and early 2000s. Yeah, they're very close sisters. They're each other's best friend, and they're just different, and they get picked on for it. And one night, while they're walking through this park, and they're walking through this park, and Ginger starts to have her period, and out of nowhere she gets attacked by this lycanthrope. I think that's the word that they used for the werewolf. I'm just going to call it a werewolf because I don't want to get it wrong. She's attacked by this werewolf, and after that night she starts healing, or that night she starts to heal. And it's very weird because after that she starts changing physically and mentally, and her and her sister just grow apart, and Ginger, she just snaps. She becomes different, and don't want to spoil too much, but that's the basic plot for Ginger Snaps. Okay, guys, starting off this horror battle, round one. Which film had the better kills and which one had the higher body count? Was it Lake Placid or Ginger Snaps? Well, Lake Placid only had 2 human character deaths, which is a little bit underwhelming. But they were good character deaths. One guy gets split in half, and then one guy gets his head just chopped off by the crocodile. I thought that was really cool. They were really good. They were, gory. But not overly gory, but they had some gore to it, enough to satisfy me. But the thing is, with this, instead of like a slasher film, with this, once the character gets thrown into the water or something like that, you feel like they're going to die because they're in the crocodile's environment. That kind of, just elevates the level of suspense. And I think that's why, I didn't have a problem with there only being 2 character deaths. Yeah, I mean, they were good kills. Not great, but I don't think it will lack because it only has 2 character deaths. I think the suspense is enough to carry throughout the film. Ginger Snaps had, I think, 4 kills. Could have had 5. I'm thinking 4, but I could be wrong. They were pretty gory. I did enjoy the kills in Ginger Snaps more. They had the higher body count and they had the better kills in my opinion. So round 1 goes to Ginger Snaps. Okay guys, moving on to round 2. Which one had the better storyline? Which one intrigued me more? And which one was just more original? Okay, I'm just gonna say I don't think either of these films are that original. I mean, I'm probably gonna piss a lot of people off. Just let me explain. With Lake Placid, I think the plot's fine. Plot's fine with Ginger Snaps as well. But with Lake Placid, if you've seen Jaws, you've essentially seen Lake Placid. Even though it is a crocodile, there's different stuff about it. I'm talking about the plot, though. They find more different ways to conquer the crocodile. Even if they do, they might not. You gotta watch the film to find out. They find something in the water, just like Jaws, and then they have to kind of go after it. That's pretty much the basic plot. And with Ginger Snaps, we've seen someone turn into a werewolf before, you know. So I don't think they're that original. But if I had to give it to one, I would have to give it to Ginger Snaps because it is not just your typical werewolf film, even though it kind of is. It's different. There's different, elements to it. The werewolf is actually not that hairy. It's like a weird shaved werewolf. There's some hair to it, but it's not the typical werewolf. And they try to make a cure. I'm not going to spoil if they do or not, but they try to attempt to make a cure to turn them back into a human. And also, it's a slow transformation. It takes like almost half of the film for Ginger to finally turn. And that's not typically in all the werewolf films. So it does have a little bit more originality, in my opinion. So round 2 goes to Ginger Snaps. Round 3 is which film had the better acting? Was it Ginger Snaps or Lake Placid? Lake Placid, you have Bill Pullman, Bridget Fonda, Oliver Plant, and Brendan Neeson. I think that's how you say his name. Let me see. Yeah, no, Brendan Gleeson. I'm sorry. I think he played in 28 Days Later. He looks exactly like the guy who played, Frank in 28 Days Later. I think his name's Frank. I could be wrong. But in Ginger Snaps, you have, like I said before, Catherine Isabel, and you have Emily Perkins. You have, well, those are the 2 stars, basically. I thought the acting in both films are really good. This right here is kind of like a horror comedy. And I like the chemistry between, the actors. I thought it was really good. I like, Sheriff Hank, like he's always talking about how sarcastic, Jack Wells is, and, just how rude, what's her name is, how rude Kelly Scott is, Bridget Fonda. I don't know, I just kind of like the humor in this film. But, Catherine Isabel and Emily Perkins did a great job in Ginger Snaps as well. I'm going to have to give this round a tie. I think the acting is good in Lake Placid, and I think the acting is good in Ginger Snaps. So, round 3 is a tie. Okay, so round 4 is the killer of the film. Do I like the werewolf, or do I like the crocodile more? Even though the werewolf effects in this film are really good, and it's a different type, like a style of werewolf, like I was saying, it's a different type of werewolf. It's not just your typical, brown hairy werewolf. It's kind of like a grayish, not as hairy werewolf. And it looks really good, but I don't know. I got really impressed, or I was really impressed with the animatronic crocodile that they used. They did use a little bit of CGI, which don't look that bad. If you've watched the sequels to Lake Placid, it looks great compared to them. But the animatronic crocodile made by Stan Winston, the same guy who did Pumpkinhead, and not directed Pumpkinhead, but he did the creature effect for Pumpkinhead. He made that. And the xenomorph for Alien. I was very impressed with it. It looked like a real crocodile, especially when the croc just jumps out of the water and grabs the helicopter. That's probably, if not my favorite scene, it's one of my favorite scenes in this film. I was just more impressed with the crocodile in the film. So if I had to give it to, Ginger Snaps or Lake Placid, I would have to go Lake Placid. So Lake Placid has won round 4. Okay guys, round 5, which do I think is a better overall horror film, Ginger Snaps or Lake Placid? That's actually kind of hard for me because I really enjoyed Lake Placid. I remember watching it when I was little. Didn't really form an opinion then because I loved anything. But it kind of surprised me because a lot of people don't talk about Lake Placid. I thought it was very well directed by Steve Miner, the guy who did Friday the 13th Part 2, 3, and Halloween H2O. I thought he did a really good job directing, and I don't know, I just really like Lake Placid. I wouldn't say it's great, but I would say it's good. And that's more than what a lot of people would say about it. It's definitely no Jaws, but it's a fun time. Ginger Snap, though, I didn't love it. A lot of people love this film. I heard a lot of stuff about it. And when I tend to hear a lot of stuff about something, I don't like it as much because I heard a lot of stuff about Sleepaway Camp. I was expecting it to be like Halloween or Nightmare on Elm Street. Did not like it too much first time I watched it, but after that, I really started liking it after the second viewing, second or third viewings. Ginger Snap, so I really liked it. I just didn't love it, but if I had to pick one to watch, honestly, I would say Lake Placid is more fun, but in terms of overall better horror film, I have to give it to Ginger Snaps. I just think it was more well-rounded than Lake Placid. It had a higher body count, gorier, and had a little bit more scarier moments in my opinion. So I'm going to have to give round 5 to Ginger Snaps. It is the better overall horror film in my opinion, even though it's a little bit more bleaker and a darker film. It's still a good film. But yeah, guys, Ginger Snaps is one of my horror battle. So do you guys agree or disagree with me? Do you guys like Lake Placid or Ginger Snaps better? Leave a comment down below. And yeah, okay, before I end this, I just want to say, yeah, these Scream Factory releases are really good. I mean, obviously the Ginger Snaps one is a lot better because it has a lot more special features. I don't know if you guys can see. But it is packed with special features. The transfer is really good, and audio as well. Just all around a solid release, and one of the best Scream Factory releases to date, in my opinion. Lake Placid isn't as good. It don't have as much special features, but the transfer and audio is as good as Ginger Snaps, in my opinion. So I definitely recommend you pick these up. I think right now they're both $18 each on Amazon, which is kind of pricey for a lot of people, but I paid $29 for both of these, so I think that's a good deal. But yeah, I definitely recommend you pick up those Blu-rays. And yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for this battle. Ginger Snaps has won. And yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for a Little Rock Accused video, and then Jeremy Burchips, and then our newest pre-member will be doing their video on Friday, so stay tuned for that. And I'll leave our Facebook link and the website link down below. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Peace.